Okay, there we are. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me for a taste of committing to your living. I have no agenda here. I just wanted to jump on and share with you a taste of what it is to commit to you and to actually be living and not, the refraining from living that most people are doing. And I just wondered if any of you had any questions to start off with.
I have a question.
Oopsie, hold on one second. There, sorry. Go for it.
What is for you committing to your life? I mean, do you think that for every person is different?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. However, it's like we can all use the same tools to get to that awareness for us. And I think most of us growing up in what I was just talking about, growing up in the carrot soup, basically you're so aware of everybody else around you and everything that they want from you and expect of you and project onto you, that most of the time when we're choosing something, we're either choosing in agreement with them or in resistance to them. And we really have no sense of what it is that we truly like. And so over the years of being an access consciousness facilitator, I have kind of honed these tools into, it first started out as 10 months of committing to you. And it was like a couple of calls every month. And I gathered all of that information together and created a weekend workshop and asked for permission from Gary Douglas, founder of Access. And he was like, go for it. So it's a multi-step process to start clearing away everything that you have been in resistance to, everything that you're aware of, and start like getting to that golden nugget of the energy of you, who you be, what is actually real and true for you. And then starting to honor and trust and have your own back and be following that energy in the world. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, a lot. Thank you so much, Julie.
Yeah, so it's definitely a process. And when I first came to Access, one of the beginning classes that they had after Foundation, of course, Gary did this one-off class called, what was it called? Creating the life of your dreams. I don't know, something about your dreams. And I remember sitting in the first row, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take notes and I'm going to really get this, because I had no idea who I was and what I really wanted. I was so entrenched in the carrot soup. And he sat up there and he said, what would you all like to know? And I was like, well, how do you create your life? And he was like, well, what is it that you want to create? And I was just blank. I had no idea. And a lot of what we first start coming up with, writing lists or whatever of what you like, it's usually the superficial stuff, but then you start to settle into what is actually real and true for you. And it just takes a while to get to that. So what else can I say about that? Anywhere that you're hiding, or that you make other people's realities, points of view, judgments more real than you, anywhere you're avoiding judgment, all of those things, anywhere you're making your partner, husband, kids, whatever, greater than you and not actually including you in your life is a place where you're not committed to you. So let's just clear that, because that's a lot. So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And so it goes on from there, but then it goes into the, you know how you pod pock and you're clearing limitations, but then there's a choice, those energy, space, and consciousness clearings that are like creation clearings. So then there's choices that you can make to trust you, to know that you know, to trust your body, and to put your energy into the things that are fun for you and light and will create. So, any other questions? Does that answer what you were asking?
Oh yes. May I ask something else?
Of course.
Procrastination. What is that? I mean, if you see that in an energetically way.
Yeah. Well, is it procrastination, or is it just knowing that it's not time?
Wow. Thank you.
And I guess you have to look at each time. Like there are times when the laundry is piling up, right? And you look at it and you're like, I don't want to do it. And then you look at it later and you don't want to do it. And then if you go into judgment about yourself that you're procrastinating, then you have to recognize that that's judgment, because you could also just ask now or later. It's not about I'm a good person because I did it, or I'm a bad person because I didn't, but it's when does it work for me to do the laundry? And it's amazing when you take judgment off, how much lighter your life becomes. I don't have judgment about laundry anymore. I used to. It used to be this big mountain of responsibility and caused all kinds of stress. But when it's now or later, when is it going to work for me? How can I make this fun? That creates it being different. And procrastination, I think, is just a judgment, because you're not actually asking, what is this? Is there something else required for me right now? Does that help?
A lot. Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else has a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
How did you know when you actually did commit to your life? What changed? And what did you perceive? What changed?
Well, I would say that all along choosing access classes and stuff was like tippy toe beginning to, but about 5 years into being a facilitator, and my husband was a facilitator as well, I became very aware that the relationship wasn't working for us anymore. And I knew it, and I was just like shoving it away and trying to use the tools to make it work and to make it better, which it sort of did. But then one day I was actually willing to ask the question, if I leave the marriage, what will my life be like in 5 years? And if I stay, what will my life be like in 5 years? And I had asked that many times, but I had asked it through the judgments and decisions and rightnesses and wrongnesses of making a choice like that. And this particular time, I just asked it and got the awareness, and it was so expansive to leave. And it was like the sound of music, the hills are alive. And I indulged it for the day. And I actually remember I was driving from San Francisco into Marin, where I live now, and indulging this possibility of leaving the 20-year marriage. And I was like, oh my God, is this the energy that my life would be if I chose this? And I just let myself explore that for the day. And then as I was driving home, I got heavier and heavier and more contracted because, actually facing up to that and making that decision, I started going into his reality. But I actually made the choice and had the conversation, and it was so light immediately. It took like 2 minutes, and we were both so relieved. So that was like a major committing to my living, because before that, I was just divorcing myself left, right, and center. And it doesn't mean that you have to divorce somebody to commit to you at all. There's no requirement of anything for committing to you. It's just committing to you and what works for you. Having your own back and really, really choosing what's going to bring you joy. And there is no right and there is no wrong.
Sounds very light.
Yeah, it was amazing. I actually wrote about it in one of the chapters of my book, Beauty in the Breakup. And what was I just going to say about that? Well, and there's also in the book, there's a chapter on choosing for you and indulging for a month without leaving your relationship, but just taking a month outside of the home to create your life, and then having your partner do the same thing. And we did that, and it really gives you a whole different sense of who you are and what you do and what you contribute to the relationship and what they contribute. And it's an amazing exercise to do. I don't know what happened to all the other people who registered. Maybe they're just looking for the replay. So what else? Let me just see what else they may want to know. Well, okay. So we've talked a little bit in other calls about what the word commitment means and what it brings up for you. And a lot of people want to run away, run for the hills. I don't want to commit. I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be committed. I don't want to be in a straitjacket. But it doesn't have anything to do with that. Committing is actually trusting in yourself and entrusting your life to you. It's not about trusting other people. It's about trusting you and choosing for you. And choosing for you doesn't mean that you exclude everybody else. You can't. You're already aware of everybody else all the time, and you can't turn it off as much as you want to sometimes. So what it is it's an inclusion of you in your choices and putting yourself first. It's like being on the airplane. Put your oxygen mask on first before you can assist others. So if you don't have you and you're not putting you first in your life, you will be at a deficit when you're constantly giving to others. And that's why people get burnout, because they're not listening to their body. They're not listening to what brings them joy. And when you do put yourself first, other people honor you. But when you don't, you're like left out and you're last, and other people don't honor you. So it's a really strange concept of putting yourself first. How many of you think that putting yourself first is bad and selfish?
Oh,
And wrong. Yeah. And so Gary says every wrongness is a strongness. So we're already conditioned to not put ourselves first because that's bad and wrong. And what happens is you get burnout and nobody else honors you. But when you start putting yourself first and you honor other people will start honoring you and treating you with regard. And it's a potency. So where have you decided that choosing for you is a bad thing? Who did you buy that from?
society.
And turn it to sender 1,000-fold with consciousness attached. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Turn off my phone. Cool.
Julie, do you want to talk a little bit about the workshop itself? How it's going to be, day one?
Yeah, good point. So I've done some other intro calls on this, but there's actually a weekend workshop that we're doing in February that's going to be amazing. Let's see. So we're going to start off with champagne and jewelry, and I'm going to have this here in my home. I'm going to host a little party where you can indulge your senses in elegance and have your body try on beautiful jewelry and just give you a different sense of what will be honoring and nurturing for you. And maybe we'll do some clearings and stuff. But then on the weekend workshop, we'll do mornings with clearings and a nice lunch break, and then afternoons with body processes. So it'll be really easy. And I think we're not going to start until 10 in the morning. So if anybody wants to go for a hike in the redwoods, I have local redwoods here and they're absolutely beautiful. So we can do that in the morning before class. And we're very close to the wine country. So after class, people can go out to restaurants or wineries and just really enjoy living and what's possible to choose. And how much of us have been starved for that lately? Oh my gosh. So I don't want to go into the details of what we'll go through, except that we'll be clearing judgment. We'll be clearing where relationships don't work for you. We'll be clearing where we're not willing to receive money for what we do that's easy for us. And, stuff about honoring our body and building on trusting our own knowing, our own awareness.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah, and I hear you've already got your ticket, so.
I
I'm
did. I got my tickets. I can't wait.
excited. Okay, and the sun has finally gone down, so now I have like stars in my eyes. Oh, and there were some people in the Facebook group rather than on the Zoom. That's cool. Any other questions? There's just so much space, which is really nice. And we don't need to fill the space with, unnecessary words. A lot of it is getting to that stillness so that you can start to recognize the energy that you be as a being and allowing that to infuse through your body into the world around you. And each one of us is so different. And this retreat will be a space where you can turn it up and you can be you, and there'll be this invitation for the energy of you to show up, for you to get so much clarity about what that is for you, that it'll be so easy to navigate your life towards what it is that you truly desire. That's one of the gifts of the whole pandemic, at least part of it, of what I can see, is we all had to stop for a moment or weeks or months and really look at what it is that we want to keep in our lives and what we want to let go of. And I let go of a lot of different things. I'm sure you all cleared out things. And then there were certain things taken away that maybe you weren't so sure that you wanted to let go of. But when you start to add things back in to the space, you'll notice if it's heavy or light when you've done some of this work in strengthening your awareness of the energy that you are and what you truly like to be living. It's like you kind of can't go over there where it's going to take you off course. It's just easier to course correct. So I'm really excited about the weekend, and it's going to probably be small and intimate, although hopefully a nice gathering. And there's the possibility of doing it online if you have a partner, because there are body processes. But I think it would be much more fun to join in person if it's possible. So come to Northern California, February, what is it? The 18th? And this will be the first one in person that I've done in several years. So I'm excited. I hope you'll join us. And if not, maybe invite me to your part of the world and we'll create another Committing to Your Living retreat. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Everybody's so quiet. Don't commit. Don't do it. Give yourself up for everybody else. You'll be happier not. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching in the future. And reach out if you have any other questions, okay?
Thank you, Julie.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.